but I forget.
You don't remember that?
Yes, Maggie Bean's old house.
Just down the street from here,
Just
there's one
down
of the
the street.
duplex down here, she told me last night, and,
Yeah.
of course, I don't think many of us remember.
No,
what
excuse
it
me,
was for
Len, it's up that way. And you're worried about Ralph, it's up that way.
I always got home the next day. I was down Mackey's duplex. His house was up there.
Oh, sorry, I apologize, I apologize.
What direction are you going, Rob? And, your father was Ed Millage?
That's correct.
Yeah, and your mother was, who was she before she was married?
The girl.
The girl.
Nettie.
Nettie?
Yeah.
Okay. And, you have some brothers and sisters?
Oh, yes, probably, Jack and Isabel, which is passed away, Grace, Penny, that all?
I guess, okay. And, you have some children of your own, I believe?
Well, the late had them for me.
Yes, you have. Yeah, right. So how many children did you have? Four?
Four girls.
Four girls. Couldn't get the handle I couldn't get the handle off them. And, when you went to school, did you go up to school up here?
Yeah,
The old public school and high school?
yeah, the one that was torn down. And it, well, they helped with it for funding.
Did you? Uh-huh.
And, well, there's, when I was on the board, we built a new school.
Yeah, right. And who were some of your teachers at the school?
Oh,
Remember who they were?
yeah,
Everybody had their skaters.
Yeah.
I think.
I always wrote, or went down to meet her when I was a young lad, and, this day I didn't feel like going to school, so I asked her for the keys, and she gave me the keys to unlock the door. I threw them away.
That wasn't a good thing to do.
Oh, I found out.
Oh, sorry.
Did you ever get the strap in school? You always a good boy or what?
Oh, I was out.
Outstanding.
Oh, I was out most of the time. No, I was, fairly lucky.
You did.
Thanks.
Okay, you know what, thanks. And, you went on to high school up there too, did you?
Yeah.
Did you finish the whole thing, or did you decide you were gonna get out earlier?
No, I got out early.
Did you?
Yeah, I got out earlier, only Mr. Mitchell was teaching school.
Right.
And he took me on as a student.
I see, and you really.
I was interested in what he taught.
Right, good, good, good. And,
My French is no good.
no,
My
no, I
Latin
don't
is
think.
worse.
I didn't either. So, who were some of the kids you played with when you were younger then?
Oh, Percy Edwards. The two from Peterborough, they were up right beside the house every summer. And Charlie Earnshaw, Jim Collar, I forget who was in the club.
Okay.
All behind Mucker Halls was, all lumber, slab wood,
Right,
Charlie
right.
Lake to burn.
Okay,
We made houses.
in there with Charlie Lake's Bake Shop, right?
Next, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And, you told me last night that you, worked at the commercial hotel a little bit when you were younger.
Oh, yeah, I carried whey, which there was butter in sometimes,
Yeah.
but, you could always go out and get a dip of buttermilk on the way back from school.
Right, right.
And, we used to feed it, I used to feed Pearl Peacock's chickens, and chop and buttermilk.
Right.
They were capons, so they grew
Pretty good
pretty
size.
big, yeah.
And, did you kill them too when you were there, or did you
Oh,
pluck them or
yeah.
everything else?
Yeah, I plucked them.
Cleaned them out?
The Pearl was better at that than I
Oh,
was.
shit. But you had to do some anyways, eh?
Yeah,
Right, right. Did you play any sports at school?
oh, yes, rugby, hockey, and I wasn't so hot at basketball.
Oh, you weren't very good at that?
No.
Well, neither was I. And, what other sports did you do? When you got older, you enjoyed little other sports, I think?
Oh, hockey, it was one of the main things.
Who did you play hockey with? You remember that?
I remember Brady Bullock was in goal.
Mm-hmm. Was it Bob Chittick and those guys play with you?
They were older than I
A little
was,
bit older than you, so. Okay.
but usually it was Tommy Chaplin that drove us around
Oh, is that right?
to all the places to play hockey.
Yeah, right.
Or he had arranged for the cars.
One way or another, eh?
Yep.
Yeah. And, some of the hobbies you have, you're quite a gardener.
Oh, yes, Bill Staver knows about that. He come over and plow my garden, and, with the horse, I kept weeds. The geese took after the horse, and Mr. Staver took after the horse too. Yeah, he never stopped when he went through, Doc Shepherd's, yard.
Is that right?
With the plow behind him. That's the last time the plow started.
Yeah, no doubt, you probably would be. And, you enjoyed hunting and fishing and so on and so forth. Did you have any real trips that you'd like to tell us about?
Oh, yes, was up to the Arctic a couple of times, Frobisher Bay and Bangor, and a few joints like that, aboard the Eskimo canoes, and
Right.
went, almost any place.
Did
In
you?
the summer,
Yeah, that's quite a trip, eh?
but
Excuse me,
summer, there was about 80 of us.
come up here. This is Millage, come up right there.
North Air,
Oh, yeah.
and, oh.
Good, good. You told me last night she wasn't coming, but I guess you changed your mind. Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but we had fellows from Toronto and so forth, and they were stupid about the tides and so forth. They're very high, and they'd come in around behind them, and they'd be interested in fishing. They'd trapped in the water. We have to go with garbage bags, give them some garbage bags to walk in with.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and of course, canning, they brought, tents from what you'd use here, but they used to be wooden plugs there to hold the tent up. Well, you ever try to drive pegs, wooden pegs into,
Ice?
ice?
No, doesn't happen.
Doesn't work.
So you had to give them your tent back, did you?
No way. Yeah, they built it out, with some, I don't know, they'd been there anyway for a long time.
Yeah.
And I tell you, never play pool with an Eskimo.
What's that
Because
right?
he knows every bump in the clock.
Is that right?
He cleaned so many, our fellows' clocks, it wasn't funny. Yeah, but what they wanted was fresh vegetables, so we used to bring baskets of beans and, anything that was ripe at that time. And then I'd get my, fishing rod carried by a young lad, and I gave one of them a watch. And the next year, he knew I was coming in, and he held up his hand like that with the watch on it. So he gave his little brother a job.
Hope you get another watch for him.
The Queen, made a big difference when she went up there. They built a building for her.
Uh-huh.
Not for her, but, they had it ready,
Right.
except one piece of metal on, the roof, and, they buck-sheet that some way. And, I guess I asked if I could, when we went in for dinner one night, if I could sit in Queenie's chair. And one of the girls said, well, we got a mark for some gum. And I said, which one is it? So she pointed it out, and sure enough, there's a piece of gum, but somebody else might have put it there too. Yeah.
And you were telling me last night that you used to go over to Tiny Hill store.
Oh,
Across
yeah.
the bridge and,
Yeah, listen,
listen to the stories.
yeah, about hooking a muskie to the island. That's why there's two little islands down here. The muskies drew them all the way down. So of course we lose it.
That was his story anyway, Jane.
He used to tell a lot of stories.
And I believe you were in the war service in the RCAF for,
I couldn't help it, but I was working down there at Peterborough Army Camp, and, putting stacks on and so forth, and Doug Bowman, he was in the stores, and, he says, don't join the Air Force, come here, and you'll be here all winter. And I said, but like in spring. So I said, no, but you know, he was right, I should have stayed in Peterborough, I wouldn't have gotten into so much trouble. Yeah.
and, what kind of an airplane did you fly?
Oh, cancels mostly.
So they were a type
Yeah.
of bomber?
Well, they're, amphibious. They use them for water.
Oh, okay, and it landed on the water. That's the only way you stayed on the water all the time, or could you land on the ground?
Well, some of them had, wheels you could lower.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them didn't, you had to put breaching gear on it, you had to wade out, this deep in the cold water, and put the landing gear on it, so it could taxi up the runway.
So, about approximately how many men were on the plane with every mission you flew on that?
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Five, so you'd have a pilot and a tail gunner, would you have a,
No, 2 side blisters and the front one.
so if on the two guys on each side of and then the pilot, he flew the plane and you guys do the shooting. But tried it anyway.
Well, we had to bump dump our bomb load because they started to run.
Oh, yeah.
Blistering, and, the natives up there, as soon as we dropped the bomb, they'd be right there because all the fish had come to the surface.
Oh, is that right, eh?
They
This
could
was-
pick out what they wanted.
And where were those, was this the overseas and,
No, they were football or
Gold Harbor, so that's where about the big,
north end of Vancouver Island, I would say, pretty close to the end.
yeah.
sub, at least we think it was Japanese, get through a bunch of shells at a radio station, and wiped it out, but, I mean, there was nobody in it, so, and we scouted all over for it and never found it, so.
So they got away on,
Yeah, the Jap balloons that came over, I don't know whether you've heard of Jap balloons.
I think you were telling me about the other day, last night about it.
You see, I had Parkinson's disease.
Yeah, part of it, yeah.
Yeah,
That is there.
that's it. These balloons were 30 feet in diameter, and they carried a bomb load in a basket, big basket, and worked on the pressure of the air. Every time they'd come down, they'd drop a sandbag and come up, and that's the way they kept them all the way across from Japan. And this is what the material, you patch it as if you were patching a spare tire, or rubber tire.
And I presume these were, filled with gas, so they start a fire when they landed, is that what the idea was, or blow up?
They were all sanitary bombs, that's the way they had to land, we didn't know what to do.
Okay, yeah, on your particular,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was lucky it was wet here. We'd see them, they hit the mountains up above us, and there'd be a flash of fire, but it would go out. So just their timing was wrong.
Right, they didn't do it right. I'll just pass that around, let everybody take a look at it. You got another picture?
This is the picture of the balloon.
Oh, okay.
That's with the sandbags on.
Okay.
There's a wooden sandbag.
I'll just pass that picture along too, let you look at the column there.
Well, they're just, the steel telling us not to say where the bombs are coming,
Oh, okay.
or in the terminal.
You wouldn't be there.
There's one that, when the bomb didn't go off, it was just standing in midair.
Vancouver Day, 1945. Excuse me.
We had a poem made up, beyond the blue horizon, where humans seldom tread, stands a lonely camp called Coal Harbor, the home of the living dead.
Right. And of course, after you went out, left school, you, went to work for your father, or did you go to any other school, or?
Oh, he sent us down to every school going in the States, and Ashland, Ohio, and, many places in Toronto, and he sent.
That's for
Yeah,
learning.
yeah,
Learn the plumbing and everything else, the tinsmithing.
yeah, well, he knew it pretty well, he could take it. Well, I took a tinsmith course in the airport,
Oh, okay.
got my license.
Oh, John, but
Man, nobody can hear back there. We cannot hear.
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry.
Can you talk, okay, can you talk a little bit louder, Ralph?
Okay.
They wanna hear all the story, I guess, whether it's true or not.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I make a bad guard.
Would you?
Everybody had to take their turn walking around the station in the middle of the night and punching clocks. And when I came to the bomb dumps, I almost, the clock didn't tick because I was there.
You made her so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't slow down at all.
That's right.
So, did you, how many years were you in the Air Service, Air Force? 4 years or 3, 4?
Kind of, I know.
Oh, yeah.
I think about 2.5 years.
Oh, yeah. You weren't overseas, you just mostly in Canada, were you?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You were looking after us here. Somebody had to be home.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's for sure. Anyways, you told me the other night that you like fishing and that you got the fish here that wasn't supposed to be up here.
Oh, the pickerel.
Yeah.
When we caught one in front of the house, and we phoned the game warden to find out what kind it was. And he said, there's a pickerel, but there's none up here. And I said there was. So he says, well, they were putting Rice Lake, and I don't know how the hell we can get up here. And he says, well, I'll notify the powers that be, they're up here.
Right.
And since then, there's been good pickerels. Yeah.
I don't know whether you all know, but years ago, there was no pickerel up this area at all. When they just, until they put in the Trent Canal system, I think they found their way up there. Got a picture of the pickerel or what?
I don't know. Oh, that's a picture of the old riffraff,
Okay.
in front of the house. And you talk about gardening, there's the sweet potatoes in front of me.
I'll really pass that along, that sweet potatoes.
And here's the mousetrap, trapper. That tin, goes around on the coat hanger, and you put cheese on it, and then in the spring you just flush the toilets.
Mousetrap, man-made mousetrap, homemade mousetrap.
You put antifreeze water in the bowl.
So that's the map there, young man?
Yeah, that's that's a potato, sweet potato patch.
Gardening.
We used to go to sucker fishing down Sawyer Street.
Uh-huh.
And, we used to swim at the second deep hole. And,
Oh, that's right, well, I've been drowned there myself once.
yeah, everybody brought something this day to eat, except meat, so we sent
We're gonna eat the fish.
yeah, so we burnt the fish, so we had to go for a chicken. And that was the first chicken burn they came to. So, and I think we ate more feathers than. Yeah, but they got dynamite from the quarry, and we set off a blast in the second deep hole. and there was lots of suckers flying everywhere.
All over the place.
Doc Randy was wanting me to bring them suckers, so I always thought.
Well, to make sure you had some, eh?
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And you were telling me when you're up on the, hunting in the Arctic where one of your partners was eating seal meat.
Oh, yes, that was a friend of mine. He thought he could, eat it just the same as Eskimo. But he kept yelling, Ralph!
Didn't stay down.
No. That was Irish driver.
Yeah, right.
He didn't have the stomach for it.
Yeah. And you were telling me when you worked at Peacock's, which is the commercial there, that they kind of bootlegged, is that right?
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah.
And, what happened was, Billy was supposed to get a phone call, when they were gonna raid him. They had it all worked out. But they forgot to tell the fellow that he was supposed to phone. And Billy, he knew they were coming, so he hoisted me over the fence in Dad's yard, so I wouldn't be caught. Yeah. The chickens were late getting their supper that
Yeah, well, they probably would be. And, how did you meet your wife?
Oh. she was
Picked her up on the side of the road?
Well, when I was going to be buried in BC, and, Dad wrote me, he was putting in a furnace for grains near Lakefield. He says, don't get married, don't get married. I picked you out one. So I put it off. When I got home, and Dave Spence, it was a dance in the town hall, apartment dance in the fire hall, I think. And, I said, what is the grave girl knows? Pointed at Jim. Oh, I had to dance with her. I thought, she's old. And, but I met her before that. I picked her up, and brought her into school one night. But, she said she wouldn't, she got in with me, I wanted to. But, that was a long walk,
Yes.
2 miles.
Yes, it sure would be.
Yeah.
I think she told me last night that she walked every day to school from there to the high school over here. You didn't have to walk that far.
No, no, when, the church was torn down, the Roy Bullock's house was built on, Methodist church, wasn't there?
I think so, something around there.
And, Dad went to take us to church, and we crossed the bridges and walls in the middle of winter. And he says, we're gonna find a different church than that. He was holding on to Jack and I. Yeah, he wanted one closer to home.
Closer to home, you have to walk in the storm.
And Father Garvey, lived right across from a White House. The lad lives, or works at the,
Yeah, Bobby,
Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
across, this house is
They wanted to trade, Father Garvey wanted to trade houses, but there was a little difference in the price of the lot between the Father Garvey's and the one with the lake frontage was worth a lot more. So, however, it took them 3 years, but they finally, got it. And then, they moved the house, Scribb Webster moved the house that, Doris Hill used to live in. Across the lake, there's a river, I see in school, to wash it.
Did you?
Yeah, and it's still across the river.
Yeah, it is, yep, yep.
What else?
Well, you're, I don't know. You told me last night you were, Billy Casement took you on a boat trip on, I can't remember the name of the boat, I don't even remember that.
Well, Casement had one of his own, but it wasn't that Casement. Billy Casement was postmaster.
Yeah.
Here. And I've never been able to figure out whether he owned the boat or what happened. Because I thought it was more likely Linda.
Yeah.
But, regardless, he paid for it anyway. Of course, he said nobody could know about it, but that was on the school board, he told me.
Yeah. And, I heard rumor, somebody told me that you were found naked in this church. Is that true?
I'm afraid it is. Where is it?
Right up there, though. Right in there.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget whether lining the tank,
Or
or,
the baptismal tank water, so.
yeah, so we got it all soldered up and everything, and then we, of course, we had to put water in and test it. So I stayed up here and they turned the water on down cellar and they filled the tank and it was leaking, but you couldn't see where it was leaking from the bottom, so I thought if I stuck my toe in it, I'd feel the suction. Sure enough, found the leak all right, but as I hopped out of the tub in river water. Yeah, he says, "Is the water cold?" However, we did get a tank fixed.
Okay, who were the, police that were here when you were, younger, in your younger days?
Oh, Bob Webster,
He was probably one of the first people around there.
yeah, and, Wallace Henry,
Yeah,
Sam, of course,
yeah.
Slade Kent. We had no bad ones.
No, we didn't have. We had none of them that drank either.
No. It reminds me of Price Morris. Yeah, quite often, Clint would be snow plowing, Price would be right behind them. They'd come in, get warm.
It's your house.
Yeah,
Yeah, when they're going by.
yeah.
And, I believe you were on the school board for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
And you caused a lot of ruckus, you guys, that time, didn't you?
Hey?
You caused quite a ruckus that time, didn't you?
Oh, it's small. Small.
A small ruckus, okay.
Yeah, it's too bad it happened. Yeah. But, however, what made burn my backside is the teacher took the lesson we'd offered them in the first place.
Is that right? Oh, well.
That's a union for you.
Oh, well, anyway, those things do happen.
Yeah, too bad.
And, I heard that, you knew some of the boys from Bonanza.
Oh, yeah. Well, they were just up in somebody's cottage up the other side of Young's Point.
So you used to see them once in a while.
Oh, yeah, Toss and Lauren Green.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, they were just ordinary fellows.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And did you, you worked quite a bit on the lake, plumbing and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Can you tell us any wild stories about going across the island or anything, put plumbing in, or?
Well, especially when the police were after you, you didn't have numbers on your boat.
Is that right?
So you just go in where they couldn't go, just be back home.
Yeah, right, right.
Or one time I knew what boat I was gonna hide in, so I grabbed a can of paint and put the numbers on.
Quick.
Yeah, just on one side.
Oh, yeah.
They stopped me, and I said, I got numbers, but they're on the other side. Oh, you have to have it on both sides. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you were telling me about, catching a large, big carp down the dam down there, the nets with it, or was it?
Yeah, and that's, when the truck came,
You're having a little shot of water, no?
Sure, that's water.
Well, I know. It was when they brought it in here, anyway.
Well, what was I talking about?
We're not just too sure, the big carp.
Yeah, they drop nets, in between where the logs and the pillars stood bulged out there, and they, took any of the 9-pound carp and under, they kept them alive in a big truck, and, I don't know, they killed the rest, but one they brought up to Earl Hamlin's that weighed 90 pounds. It was a wrestle to get it out of there, slippery. You would sure smell a fish.
Right. And you were telling me your father put the siren on top of the town hall, the building,
Oh.
so this is the first one, the last one they put up, Ralph, here?
I think that's the last one.
Yeah.
They built one and it was too heavy. They couldn't, put it up there. So they had to build another one.
Right.
And I heard Bill Charlton bought the other one. Now, what he did with it, I don't know. But,
Well, must be the old town hall here, not the one that's standing now, but this is the one that's here, I think, isn't it? Out of the roof here.
it was a metal roof.
Yeah. Okay, that must be.
Is Cora Henry here?
Yeah, right there. Right here.
Oh, there she is. Do you remember anything about Bill buying that,
It's the tower that the siren is in.
No, I don't remember a thing about it. Sorry.
well, I don't really remember it either, but Father told me, because he put the metal on the roof of it. Yeah.
Do you remember, Josh? No. That's a different tower, right? Oh, sorry, I'll get one.
No, okay.
Try to keep the same one, maybe carry it on down the other way. What's that? This is the picture you're talking, plumbing shop.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That was the old plumbing job. It was very liable around election time.
No doubt.
They were, Mead Inch, and Jimmy Redpath, almost everybody in Main Street.
That's all, somebody's out there.
That piece of javelin that went around, a neighbor, took in a Japanese girl, and, we got talking, I don't know, she'd be about 12 or 14, and I would say, and, I told her that I had a piece of the javelin. And she said her mother made those. She worked on them all during the war.
You never know, do you?
No, you don't.
No, that's for sure. So I see your dad started, his business in 1917, 18, and what was, well, this says Davis Meat Market, but where the clinic is now, that's where he first started his business there.
Yeah.
And I understand that your father stayed at Miss Kitt's for, quite a while before after he came around here?
Oh no, dad was still, lived here.
Oh, okay, dad did, okay.
And, he had consumption or something, he had to stay outside.
Oh, yeah?
He used to stay on that island down River Road, Canton, all winter.
Oh, is that right? That would be a little chilly.
He couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he got over it.
That's what they did in that time, when he was sick, they had them isolated them.
With Thompson, yeah, yeah. I understand they did anyway. Isolated everybody. You wouldn't go near them.
But he lived through it.
You made it all right, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to take us up to Eels Creek when the water was going real fast and watch the logs come down.
Right, right.
And by the time we got back from Eels Creek, Clear Lake was full of logs.
Is that right?
And by the time we got home, they'd already, there was logs, plenty of them at my place.
Is that right?
Down by the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried to sink as many as we could to keep them.
Fire for yourself. That was probably a good idea.
Fred Norris would charge us 10 cents or something to cut off a log.
Right.
The lumber, as the saw was going, yeah. So, we started gathering them out of the lake.
Yeah.
And putting them in cribs, and then we bring them in. Jerry Stabler and Squirt Blewett and Bell. And this log, or crib, you could store, quite a few logs in it, maybe 30 or 40 logs, and you'd bring it up to Norris's. He cut them up.
So I told you maybe he stole a few things when you were a child, too. Like maybe licorice.
Oh, yes. Herb Brown, we got talking to Herb and their handwritten the licorice, thing at the same time. And he'd be telling the story. And then, we couldn't get in there, we'd go over to Tiny Hill and, see what we scrounged there. And Tiny tell stories, lie after lie. We believe him. Great guy for telling stories.
So anybody important that you know, that you worked on in their cottage on the lake? Did you work on Leo Dorfman's house up there?
Oh, yeah.
On the corner of Leo?
Yeah, we had, 2 rolls of lead. Leo took the
Oh, yeah?
And, so we lowered the 2 rolls of lead, in when the roof was off. And, then I beat with a mallet, a 10-foot bath out of the bathtub, and one of those 5 feet long.
You made that yourself?
Yeah.
Is that right?
And then they covered them with tile,
Right.
wire and tile.
And you were telling me the other night that you used to make, small pails and sell them for 25 cents each?
Oh, yes, my father made a lot of money on that.
You made more than he did. You took the tin from this place and made the tile.
No, I had to use his machinery to make.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a big, sack bucket, very, and stovepipes, that's what we did in the winter time.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You made them all the time.
Well, we used to supply Eaton's with stovepipes and old Jersey outfits in Peterborough,
Oh, did you?
and Leonard's Hardware, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Is there anything else you might, on your mind, you might be able to tell us, or,
I think I've shot my wad.
Anybody you wanna ask Ralph any questions about,
Yeah,
anything?
you remember anything I've missed?
Just one?
One
Who are some of your,
Go ahead.
who are some of your school teachers, Ralph?
Oh, this kid?
Yeah,
Miss
Mr. Hart.
Payne, Mr. Harvey, as I would try flying through the air. He's a very nice gentleman, and Mr. Mitchell, and Mr. Mitchell, he started the Blitz Club, Boys Club in Lakefield, and taught us how to weave baskets, and took us to the Y in Peterborough, and so we could swim. He had all behind Charles was gardens. We made them that, each kid would have their own. And they planted them with lettuce and carrots and so forth. I guess that's where I got gardening. Yeah.
Wish it had worked for me, Ralph. Wish it had worked for me.
Doesn't work for everybody.
You were in on that too?
Yeah.
I got pictures of it, so.
Victory garden.
Yes,
You ever
sir.
remind him, you ever see him and tell him about, if you remember the guy, Minchell? You ever
Is he
see
here?
Mr. Minchell?
Oh, yes, I see him.
Yeah, so have you told him that he was responsible for your gardening?
All the weeds in my garden.
Barney, you
I
wanna add something?
understand Ralph had an enterprise at one time, and he's often told me stories about the fish that he's caught, but the fish that he raised.
Oh. Did you raise some fish too, or?
Oh, I used to raise tropical fish
Did you?
by the thousand. And the whole basement was covered with, or tropical fish, either in old washing machine tubs or aquarium,
Wherever you can get them.
and, I sold, quite a few, well, I sold, what was the name of the States? I forget. They used to supply a pet place in the States with them, and Reed's Fish, and Jerry's Aquarium, and they used to run them up to Toronto all the time. And then the Japanese got in it, and the Chinese got in it, and they could fly them over quicker than I could hatch eggs. Yeah. Yeah, but, we used to leave here at about about 5 o'clock in the morning and be at, Detroit or Windsor, noon, and, then be in Chicago at night. I think Darren Graham was with me in one trip. He's busy.
Winter or summer? Winter. All year, all year? You couldn't do this in the winter, though, could you?
Which race fish?
No, transport,
Oh, yeah,
yeah?
yeah, you had to keep the heater on.
And you were telling me you were in a cattle drive here in the village one time too.
Oh, yeah. That was Alex Graham's cattle drive. It was the last one, I think, in Lakefield.
Probably was.
Gern, what line was that you live on? 10th line. And drove from the 10th line down through the village here and, down by the water and up the other side and drove them out to the farm, which was near our Anders cheese factory.
Right, right.
That's the last cattle drive that I saw go through there.
That'd be quite a drive, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's no more you can tell us, like,
Stamp collecting? Yes, we spend all day on that. I have quite a few books of stamps, and they're spread all over the house. I wonder Jean hasn't shot me by now.
maybe she couldn't get your gun.
But
You may be just lucky.
if you are lucky enough to get, one that's something wrong with, you can make some money. But, it's a hobby, which you should be able to make a few pennies out of it if anybody's, and you learn all the, it's good for kids, they learn all the countries of the world. And, when I started, I sent, bags of stamps, just ordinary stamps that we use here, and send them to the Philippines or Uganda or anything, they send you back some their stamps. And that's a nice way to trade rather than just buy them. And there's a stamp meeting every second Tuesday down, just as you go into Peterborough. It's a nursing home.
Riverside. Riverside, yeah.
How many stamps would you have, Ralph?
You want that in millions? Yes, quite a few. I wish they were all cataloged and you take care of the expensive ones first.
How long have you been at it, Ralph? How long have you had the stamp collection?
Well, my uncle, he was on, Sophia Street, Peterborough, he ran the Yucatan Stamp Company.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had to go down to Sophia Street, and, he had a washing machine, an old cup washing machine, I don't know, gasoline engine, and he'd bounce that up and down, just clean the paper off the stamps, and then I'd sort them and, dry them, and, he got me into it, and still, I got some he gave me that are still in boxes and haven't been untraded for 50 years.
Well, they may be worth $2 or $3 too, eh?
I hope so.
Someday. Anyone else have anything else they'd like to ask Ralph, or
Have
any
you got-
stories they wanna tell?
You got anybody, Ralph, to leave this stamp collection to that's interested in your family? That's got the same drive that you have?
I thought about that.
And your children or grandchildren like it at all, or?
Well, none of mine showing an interest in it, unless Matthews does, Linda, boys. Oh, if I get in shape, I'll have lots to sell. If I live long enough.
Yep.
I helped Bill Staber a few times meeting the train, and he'd take all the luggage over to the dock and put it on the boat for clearing Stony Lake, for the island. And, they ran the railroad track right down to, close to the dock, and then something happened. They cut it off short of the road. I guess they didn't have easement to go across the road.
I can remember, Ralph, your father, maybe you were there, and they were putting the septic system in at my grandma Kid's down here at the cement block house. And a blowtorch or something blew up in the tank. Somebody was fairly badly burnt. Do you remember anything about that?
Where was that
At my grandparents, Arthur Kidd, where Aunt Elsie
at?
lived.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Somebody was badly burnt there. I remember I had a wagon, and I got burnt getting the wagon.
Yeah.
And if your dad was in the tank, or I can't
Dad was
remember.
in the tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What did you do?
No, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And the blowtorch blew up or something, didn't
Yeah,
it?
there was one you pumped up with natural gas.
Yeah. And did your dad not live there for a while in my grandparents' backyard in a tent? When he
That's
first
right.
come to Lakefield, eh?
That's right,
Yeah,
because he had that disease.
yeah.
You got a good memory.
Yeah, I was pretty young, but it just stuck with me. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Anyone else, any more tales they wanna ask them, or a tale themselves, they might tell themselves or something? Anything else you can tell us now, Ron?
I'm told of it.
Oh, you're told her again?
Are you still involved with the hunting camp up on 36?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I might tell you a little story. We used to go to Sangster Lake up above Iroquois Falls with a bus and 12 skadoos. And there was snow there, 12 feet deep, lots of snow, and we go for miles and miles. There's nothing to pull a moose 10 miles, and we shot too many. There was only 12 of us, we had 13 moose. So that, you hate leaving it to rot. And so we thought we'd take a chance and tell we knew the motel keeper pretty well. We asked him what he thought would do, the best thing to do. We didn't want to leave it there. So he phoned up the game warden. He said, I got a bunch of stole moose. And we told him what happened. He says, well, you lose the moose. But would you bring it in for us? And we said, yes, we'd bring it in. Because it was about 200 miles back. And he said, I won't charge you, but don't let it happen again. He gave us a note. that, you know, to transport the moose. And, lucky he did, because of this stop. And the lad thought it was a forgery. He followed it straight down. And, so they gave the people, it was cut up by an IJ store there in Ansonville. And they gave it all around the village free. Next year, what happened? Same damn thing again. He says, I'm getting sick of seeing you. Well. He said, will you bring it down? So we brought down, of course, the smallest one too. And he said, that isn't even a moose, it's a deer. He says, that's as big as you got? He just laughed. It was all right. But if you tried to bring one out of there, if they caught you, they'd really raise heck.
Do you think we're talked out here?
I think.
Anybody else, any more stories at all? I guess that's our story anyways.
Yeah, some of them I couldn't tell. I will say one more word. When I married Jean, we went to Florida. On the way back, we started out at Art Bullock's shoe store. And she got a pair of boots. Well, she got the box with the boots. And where we were in Florida, we got 2 little alligators about that long. So we put them in the box, Jean's boot box, to get across the border with them. And they lived to be about that long. So they'll grow. So I was up to Gordon K. Frazier's one day, and this big snapper was going across the road. So I decided my helper and I would lift it into the back of the half ton. So we brought it home and put it in the pool with the alligator. You never saw the water churn so much in all your life. There was water flying every direction. And the crocodile had the shell, part of a shell in his mouth, and vice versa. They both, how would you say, they were just going in circles because the head was at one hind end, the tail the other hind. And finally, of course, you couldn't get neither of them. There's no way you could handle them. So after the turtle died, and we got the alligator out, and I took it to the zoo. You have to wave at it to make it, it has to be alive for alligators to fight. And so Dean made a lot of hamburgers.
I'd just like to know if you had any skunk stories. Somebody said you had a skunk story.
Yes, before Ken Moore shot us, in the garbage can. Oh, yes. They were pets, we had them pets. Yeah. I forget, it. That was Louis, yeah. Natural. We had coons too. I don't know, I'm getting off of early.
Still get into the Legion, Rob?
Hey?
I say, do you still get into the Legion?
Oh, yeah, we go for the, Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Decent personal picture, Rob, or you got?
No. So when I came home from school, I didn't have anything, I had them shipped down. Well, when Dad was out in the shop, he said, I told you not to buy any. Well, I sold one to Harry Greer. Harry Greer bought the first jet pump in Lakefield or anywhere around. And he says, those things will put us right out of business. Don't you believe it? They go wrong too.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Right.
Appreciate that.